Hey, y'all. Welcome back to Mountain Murders Midweek. I'm Heather.
And I'm Dylan.
How are you, Dylan? What's up?
I am doing great.
You're great.
Yeah.
Wonderful.
Fought my way through a day of work and go back and do it again in the morning.
I know you came home kind of in a shitty mood, and I was like, what happened? And you're like, I just went to work. So nothing really happened. You were just pissed off because you had to work.
Well, you know what? People kept bothering me. Just let me be.
Like interrupting you?
Yeah.
Micromanaging you?
Just let me do my thing. If the shit hits the fan, I'm going to be a good, solid employee. Up until that point, you got to just give me some space.
I think 50% of the population at least would be very pleased if their job consisted of zero human interaction.
I agree.
Most people that I know, maybe they don't hate their specific job, right? They're like, the job's okay. It's the people. They dislike their coworkers. They have some asshole manager, supervisor, foreman, whatever. And then if they're in customer service, they're dealing with asshole people all day.
The dreaded public.
So if we could somehow take people out of the equation, I think most of us would be happy with our jobs.
Okay.
What do you think?
I think we should spearhead this movement of removing people from the economy.
Yes. That's the problem.
And everyone's happiness at work will go up.
Productivity will be through the roof. We just need to figure out how we can accomplish this.
Just let me be, man.
As a society.
I got people come by and ask me questions, and I'm like, I don't want to answer these questions, even if I can. You know what I mean? Just let me be.
Sometimes I'm just not in a mood to be bothered.
Yes, and this is why I prefer night shift when no one's around.
Don't blame you.
Yep. So how are you? How are you doing today?
Man, I'm hanging in there. It's spring break. Spring break, y'all.
Oh, my God.
Not doing a whole lot this week, but, I have a kiddo home. So, spring break.
Wow. Damn. Try to dial your excitement level down just a little bit.
Well, they get to sleep in, and I get messes to clean, and it's just a really fun trade-off.
Oh, God. They always sleep in.
Man, I miss being a kid and having spring break. I miss being a young person without responsibility. So when spring break rolled around, I could just go to the beach with like 10 friends, and you stay in like one hotel room, and people are just sleeping wherever there's a space.
Yeah.
A closet, a drawer, a bathtub.
So you're keeping the costs down.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're just like twerking on the beach and drinking some pina coladas or whatever.
That happened to me a bunch in my youth.
I can tell.
Twerking on the beach.
Well, you do that now.
Well, yeah, I do. I'm twerking right now.
I know.
Oh, my gosh.
It's very distracting.
Thank you.
Yeah, but it's really putting me in a good mood, so thank you.
So I've got to imagine you have some really good midweek true crime stories for us because there's a lot going on right now.
There's a lot going on, and so this week we're going to incorporate some true crime into our news updates, but I also have some things that are just worth discussion.
Okay.
And I have to say, without sounding incredibly sexist, this is the most man story I could ever find on the internet. It's a very man-centric story.
Okay.
Because I just have a hard time believing any women would do this because it's so random and sort of just stupid.
Well, this reminds me of the Florida man who blamed his horse for breaking into the house. So let's go.
Okay. I don't know why, Dylan, but this even sounds like something maybe you would do after a few beers.
Okay, I have to assess the situation before I can agree.
An Idaho man with more than 200 Guinness World Records to his name recaptured one of his previous titles by balancing a lawnmower on his chin for 30 minutes and 33 seconds.
Okay.
Now, is that not the most man-centric story of all time?
So he unseated
Himself.
the lawnmower balancing on chin champion Wait, did he best his own record?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Because
This guy.
in 2017, he balanced a lawnmower on his chin for 5 minutes and 32 seconds. His name is David Rush. He's been breaking Guinness World Records for more than 6 years. And this is cool. It's to promote STEM education.
Oh, okay.
The record was later beaten multiple times and stood at 13 minutes and 7 seconds when Rush decided to take on the challenge again. Now, the first 13 minutes were very painful, he said, but when I got to about 15 minutes, while still incredibly painful, I went into the zone. The world seemed to fade away, and I felt like I could go longer than I previously thought possible. So he ended up with a time of 30 minutes and 33 seconds, more than doubling the previous mark.
So once his face numbed out, he was okay.
I mean, I'm just like, how would you even do this, right? So he's got like a push mower. And it's the handlebar. I mean, I guess that's what you would call it, right?
Yeah.
The handlebar. He's got that balancing on his chin while the mower is above his head.
Wait, the bar is what he's balancing with?
Yes, Dylan.
Oh my God.
Again, I just can't imagine a woman would ever try this because it just seems really stupid. You could smash your teeth. You could break your neck. I mean, there's so many potential downfalls to this experiment.
Well, yeah.
I don't know.
As a
It's a lot.
man, speaking for men, I can't imagine how you realize that you have this talent. Like, at what
Again.
point do you say, I'm going to attempt to balance this lawnmower across my face
I'll
using
tell you,
the
Dylan.
handlebar?
It goes something like this. Hold my beer, y'all, and watch this.
One of his buddies says something to the effect of, I bet you can't balance that lawnmower on your
The
face.
hell I can't.
Hold my beer and hold on tight, Ted. Here we go.
That's what it sounds like to me.
Oh my God. Okay. So we started out with the silly.
We've got a piece of sad news that I thought we should mention. I was sad about this. Actor and comedian Gilbert Gottfried has died after a long illness today, which is Tuesday.
I must say, I saw that earlier today and I was saddened.
He was 67.
I think Gilbert Godfrey was great.
He has probably the most iconic voice in comedy or just in general. I think when you hear his voice, you automatically know who it is. It's like Bobcat Goldthwait, right? Like there's a few people out there that have such a distinct, unique voice, and he is one of those people.
And that's funny because that's the only other person that came to mind when you said that very statement was Bobcat Goldthwait.
You know who else I feel like has a very recognizable voice? Kathleen Turner.
Okay.
She's got that smoky, sultry voice.
Oh my God, she does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very recognizable.
Okay. I agree.
But he's passed away. Very sad.
Well, he lived a long and productive life. And I saw a thing that was talking about him. It was actually him and Norm Macdonald carrying on back and forth between themselves. And now they're both gone. So that kind of sucks.
I saw a video today. It was like, I guess, a bit of a tribute video. But it was Gilbert Gottfried reenacting Andrew Dice Clay's comedy routine.
Oh, my God.
But with his voice.
That's pretty funny.
And it was pretty fucking funny,
Yeah.
I have to say.
I'm going to have to look that up.
What do you have for us, Dylan?
That sounds hilarious. You know, sometimes you're looking through these stories, and I think we all get grabbed by the headline, right? That's the point of the headline.
Oh, yeah. Sometimes it grabs you and then it just tickles your fancy.
And it never lets go.
Yeah.
So I was perusing the news, and I just must say, here's the story. Here's the headline. And this is according to people.com. Florida babysitter allegedly put 4-year-old boy in dryer. Child says he went round and round. Okay.
I've babysat some kids before, and all I can say is it doesn't seem completely unreasonable to try that.
I've dug a kid out of the dryer, but I didn't put them in there. They put themselves in there.
You had a kid put themselves in the dryer.
Yeah, and I had to tell them to get the hell out because that's not going to work. Because I'm not trying to spend all evening at the emergency room.
Wow.
And plus, it's probably not good, right? Round and hot. That doesn't mix. A Florida woman is accused of placing a 4-year-old boy she was babysitting in a dryer before turning it on. Amber Christine Chapman, 35, was arrested over the weekend and charged with aggravated child abuse. A little more than 2 months after the child was taken to the UF Health Leesburg Hospital emergency room for injuries he suffered to his face, abdomen, and head, the ABC Local 10 News reports. During an interview with the Lake County Sheriff's Office, authorities alleged that the boy said that Chapman put him inside the dryer and closed the door, adding that he went round and round twice, the outlet says. The victim also allegedly told hospital workers that Miss Amber put him in the dryer with towels.
Well, okay. I have questions. Does the article express whether this was a punishment or some sort of like fun activity? Although I can't imagine an adult would not have enough common sense to know that's a bad idea. But then again, people are really fucking dumb. So, do you know?
Well, it does not state that outright, but in a follow-up paragraph,
okay.
Following a second exam, the child protection team was still unable to confirm if the child suffered injuries from allegedly being inside the dryer. However, it did note that his bruises were consistent with his story. So they had to double back and make sure the kid actually got hurt in the dryer. I mean, is it okay is this a precedent? Can we put kids in dryers if they don't get harmed? What if we have some PPE going? What if knee pads, elbow pads, a helmet? And that will be a great way to entertain a child for a good 30 to 40 minutes, right?
I guess.
And then when they pop
Until
out,
they're puking up fruit snacks and like high C fruit punch in your dryer.
And then when they pop out, they kind of just want to naturally go to bed.
They just stagger around like a little tiny drunk and pass out.
Yeah, and then you just help them to the room. Better than Benadryl.
I'm glad we don't have children together, Dylan. I'm just going to float this out there. I don't know at this middle age of yours, where you are now, that you'd be the best parent.
Oh, no. In this state of mind I am now, I would not be a good parent because I'm over-parenting.
I can tell.
Does that make sense?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm thinking it's not a good idea. Okay, to be clear, Mountain Murders does not support anyone putting a child inside of a dryer.
An adult in the dryer? Perhaps.
If you want to try that at your local laundromat, I can't stop you. But
if you do, please send videos.
I'm guessing it's going to have a bad result. But yeah, please don't put your children in the dryer, even if you think there's some kind of they'll leave you alone later benefit from it.
Or the dishwasher or the microwave.
Or any kind of equipment.
Any major appliance.
No.
Probably not a good babysitting tool.
And just to tie everything in that we've talked about so far, don't let your children try to balance a lawnmower on their face.
That's probably a bad idea as well. I'm glad you brought that full circle.
Unless you think they can break that 30-some minute mark, and then they can set the Guinness World Record and they can take over.
I have some celebrity true crime news.
Okay.
Are you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's go.
Well, you are probably familiar with the fact that Johnny Depp sued his ex-wife for defamation back in 2018, seeking $50 million in damages after she wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post about being the victim of abuse. Now, even though Amber Heard, his ex-wife, didn't name Johnny Depp in the editorial, Depp's lawsuit said the op-ed implied it was him, and because of that, he's lost out on film deals, and his reputation is taken a hit. To prove that Heard was responsible for the damage to his reputation, his attorneys must show at trial that what she said in this opinion piece was not only shocking but untrue. So today, this hearing took place in Virginia. They're having this whole civil suit play out in court in Fairfax County Circuit Court in Virginia. It sounds like a mess.
So does his ex have $50 million?
I don't know.
Because, if
she got Aquaman money. I don't know.
If you can't recover the money, then why bother with going through the court system?
Well, in the opening statements, her attorneys came out swinging. No pun intended.
Oh,
They claim in the opening statements that Johnny Depp punched and kicked his then wife Amber Heard during a 3-day blackout in Australia, then later attacked her by dragging her by the hair, like the hair of her head, right? Pulling out chunks. At this Tuesday trial, the jury's got to determine whether Heard was telling the truth when she said she was a victim of domestic violence, but they are giving very graphic accounts of what happened. I mean, this is pretty damning information if it's true.
well, see, that's the thing. If he did any of those things to her, he's a terrible person, right? But the flip side of that coin, which a lot of people don't want to talk about, is if he didn't do it, especially given the climate in Hollywood, the Me Too movement, you know, all the Weinstein piece of shit, blah, blah, blah stuff that happened. If he didn't do those things, then that certainly could have cost him in the long run as far as people willing to do a project with him, this controversy. But, you know, I hate to ever discount what a victim claims, right?
Well, here's the deal. In 2018, Johnny Depp sued The Sun, which is a UK tabloid, for libel after the publication called him a, quote, wife beater.
Oh, like the
So
tank top.
that already went to court, and Heard testified in that case, saying that Depp physically abused her 14 separate times, and Johnny Depp lost that lawsuit. So in this British court, they have deemed him responsible for 14 separate physical assaults.
Okay. All right. So that certainly could carry over to his reputation in America, right? You've been found guilty in another court of law, and I think everyone recognizes the UK courts as not being a kangaroo court and being, you know, straightforward. So, yeah, I guess that could cause him trouble, right?
Yeah, I mean, this is a pretty explosive information. Of course, if you've followed that case, you've likely heard many of these accusations before, but not here in the U.S. in open court. So I think it'll be a pretty interesting couple of days to see what comes of this. Of course, Heard's attorneys are saying what she wrote for the Post was protected by the First Amendment and couldn't be considered defamation because Depp was physically abusive toward her during the marriage. But Depp's team is saying, you know, this is completely fabricated, that they were both abusive to one another, but that she was the primary culprit of abuse.
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, there's some photos. I was reading some articles the other day about expert witnesses being called in during the Sun trial because there are photos of her, you know, with a pretty badly beaten face. I mean, she's got a big old, you know, red cheek, swollen up, puffy, almost like a black eye kind of thing going on. So,
well, that sounds not good. And you know, with a mess like this, who knows what's really true? I think only those two individuals would likely know what's true and what's not. And I certainly wouldn't give Johnny Depp a pass because she's a smaller woman. And I think Johnny, even though he's thin and looks like he's dying, maybe he could beat up on a smaller woman, maybe. I don't think he could take any country women, though.
oh, yeah.
No.
No country women.
Or
no.
women from the Midwest.
Just none of us that have been corn fed. Is that what you're saying?
Any women that eat corn frequently?
Cornbread?
No. Nope. You're going to whoop Johnny's little ass. And I must say, I was actually this reminds me of a point I thought I made to myself earlier today. So you got expert testimony, right? Let's talk about this for a second. So you have it's the forensic sciences, right? They claim. So you can have one expert for the prosecution say, let's say it's blood spatter evidence. It proves this. In my opinion, it proves this. Blah, 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 whatever. It supports the prosecution's theory. But then you can have a defense expert in blood splatter say the complete opposite. That he thinks it, you know, explains, or he or she thinks it supports the defense's theory, which is typically completely opposite or not the same as the prosecution. So in my mind, I'm like, what does this say about the integrity of some of the forensic sciences? if it can be this subjective. And that makes me wonder about other cases and stuff. Because anytime I hear forensics, I give it a lot of clout.
No, it's a very good
Typically.
point, Dylan. And on top of that, what qualifies these folks as expert witnesses?
Exactly.
Because there have been several trials where a quote unquote expert witness has been called in and they have bullshit credentials. Prime example, the West Memphis 3 case.
Yup.
They had this guy who was a self-proclaimed expert witness on Satanism.
Yeah, and that basically meant he looked at it and like self-published a book or some dumb shit like that, and that was it.
It was just like completely irrational stories about black masses in the woods, and you'll know because you'll see graffiti on the bridge, and I mean just total bullshit. Like there's absolutely no proof of any of this. It was all satanic panic bullshit from the 80s that this guy fed into and probably just made this shit up, right? But then was a self-proclaimed expert.
So you're telling me this person labeled as an expert to the jury was actually did not have a doctorate in occult studies or anything like that?
No.
So he had no credentials, basically.
No, he was basically just some dude who decided he was going to go like hunt witches or some shit. I don't know, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
There are multiple cases where this is the issue. I mean, we covered a case a few months ago, I believe it was the Nancy Cooper case, where one of the expert witnesses from the state crime lab was later busted for like faking information and lying on stand.
Yeah, I know. And you know what's so scary about that is that carries a lot of weight with the jury.
Well, it does, and it's very frightening.
If you're just some layman, not even a true crime fan, because I think us and our listeners would make great jury members. I really think we could assimilate.
I've never been on jury duty.
I think we could assimilate the forensic sciences and things like that, and just all the information in a more objective way than most, because a lot of times we see both sides of the story, if you will. But just for the layman person, Joe Blow, Jill Blow from off the street, when you say someone's an expert, I mean, the jury literally leans forward in their seats, like, you know, hanging on every word they say. And then it comes out later, this guy is not an expert of any type, right? But that can swing a case one way or the other, you know. That can get off some guilty guy or woman who deserves to be in jail, or put an innocent person in jail.
Well, I think in a lot of ways it sort of shakes the credibility of the entire justice system, or the thought that you're going to get a fair trial.
Well, see, I think part of the problem is the money element. You're being paid by the defense or the prosecution to basically back up their story, right? I think the experts should be provided by the state or the federal government, and they should be compensated by the state or federal government, not by either side. And each the defense and prosecutions should have access to this pool of experts, alleged experts, and but not directly compensating them, because I just don't see how that's not a conflict of interest, right?
Yes.
Oh my God, I don't believe any of it now.
Moving on.
Oh my God.
Sherry Papini, the Northern California woman charged last month with faking her kidnapping in 2016, has accepted a plea bargain with prosecutors and acknowledged she made up the story that prompted a frantic search and made international headlines.
I don't think this should be played out. I mean, they've already wasted a lot of money on this woman, right? With the resources of the municipalities searching for her. And they should take her to damn trial, bro.
Well, the search of Papini, she lives in Redding, California, by the way, set off a 3-week search across the state and several nearby states until she resurfaced on Thanksgiving Day in 2016. She was actually staying with a former boyfriend 600 miles away in Southern California's Orange County and injured herself in order to back up these fake statements. She had bindings on her body and injuries, including a blurred brand on her right shoulder, a swollen nose. She had bruises and rashes on many parts of her body, ligature marks on her wrists and ankles, burns on her left forearm. Now, it is not clear at this time what kind of punishment she's going to face, Dylan, but the charges carry penalties of up to 5 years in federal prison for lying to a federal law enforcement officer and up to 20 years for mail fraud.
Woo.
Yeah.
Man, they always get people on the damn mail fraud.
You know what? I think they ought to shove this bitch in jail for 25 years.
I think they should throw the book at her, honestly.
I think they should too.
I have absolutely no sympathy for her. She put everyone she knows and who cares for her through this, an entire community, wasted all these resources. You know, someone could have very well got hurt or something like that out there looking for her. And the whole time she's shacked up with some ex-boyfriend. And then she makes him beat her up and brand her before she goes home.
Yeah, so get this bullshit. The mail fraud charges involve more than $30,000 in reimbursement she received from the California Victims Compensation Board based on this fake story. That included money for visits to a therapist, for treatment for anxiety and PTSD, and ambulance rides to the hospital after she surfaced. She also set up a GoFundMe campaign, which raised more than $49,000 to help her family, and the couple used that to pay off bills and other expenses. Now, get this. At the time, she was a stay-at-home mom, and her husband worked at Best Buy. So the family was not wealthy, and there was never a ransom demanded. But in turn, they ended up profiting $79,000 off of this fake story.
Well, even there you go. Because and that's amazing they have that fund in California, I must say.
Not to mention the resources, the amount of money spent working this case.
Right.
The searches, all of this. Plus, she claimed that she had been kidnapped by 2 Hispanic women. So that created racial tensions.
We can't ignore that. And she took money from the victims fund that should have went to real victims.
Absolutely.
So and she pulled on everyone else's heartstring online and got them to donate to her GoFundMe. So she's a piece of shit.
She's a blonde dumpster.
Oh my God.
She's just a fucking trash person.
Well, you know, we will follow up on that and we will see how much time she gets.
Man, I hope she gets a lot of time for that shit.
She deserves a good 10 piece.
She does. I have some interesting news. I'm not even going to say it's news. It's more like travel subject matter. So if you're looking for an exciting place, I would love to visit this, Dylan.
Okay.
Write this down.
Let's go.
It's the sand dunes behind Barrel Beach on Portugal's southern Algarve coast is home to over 200 rusty anchors that were abandoned there almost 60 years ago by the local tuna fishing community.
Oh my God.
Oh, now I do not speak foreign languages, so bear with me.
You don't speak Portuguese?
I don't speak any foreign languages except bastardized French because I'm country. So it's like, hey, y'all, bonjour.
Merci.
Come on, talez-vous? Je m'appelle Heather.
So you're going to butcher this is what you're saying.
Probably. I'm going to try my best, Dylan. O Cemiterio das Ancoras, which is the Anchor Cemetery, is one of the most iconic sites of the Algarve coast, yet many people don't know its history or the meaning of it. It isn't just a random place where old ships abandoned their anchors years ago, but it's actually a memorial to a now defunct trade going back hundreds of years. In 1964, the local community decided to commemorate the death of traditional bluefin tuna fishing by burying the anchors that once formed the backbone of the complex tuna traps known as armacios. I'm probably not saying that correctly. They've remained there ever since as a reminder of the effect of industrialization and overfishing on the locals.
Wow.
But it's super cool. I'm checking out this photo, and it's just this beautiful beach. It looks like white sand, and then you have all of these rusty old anchors, like a little anchor graveyard. It's pretty cool.
We're going to call it Anchor Beach.
Anchor Beach?
And why do I feel like that is tailor-made for you to go visit.
Wouldn't that be awesome?
Yeah.
Here's another strange piece of news since we're over in Europe. The Spanish Civil Guard says it is investigating a person who owned a private taxidermy collection featuring more than 1,000 animals.
Okay.
Now, at first I was like, whoa, yeah, a fucking huge taxidermy collection. Awesome. Until I found out some of these are protected or extinct species.
Well,
So that part's not so cool.
That's not okay.
There are species of cheetah, leopard, polar bear, rhinoceros, along with nearly 200, okay, this pisses me off, ivory elephant tusks are among the extensive collection valued at more than $31 million.
Well, let's be honest. Anyone who has 200 or 300 taxidermy pieces is probably rich, right? Because it's not cheap. Good taxidermy especially. And it doesn't surprise me a bit that they have extinct and animal parts they should not have, right?
Officials identified 1,090 stuffed animals in 2 warehouses that cover more than 50 square meters in the town of Betera, north of Valencia, Spain. Of the animals, 405 are considered protected by the Convention on International Trade in Endangered Species of Wild Fauna and Flora.
So nearly half of the specimens they found are protected in some form or fashion.
Yeah, so agents are trying to investigate whether any documentation justifies the possession of these taxidermied animals. Among the collection was at least one scimitar oryx, which was declared extinct back in 2000. The nearly extinct Bengal tiger and addax, which is a white antelope, were also in this collection.
My God.
I want to know who it belongs to.
Yeah, that's what I wonder. Can they figure out who exactly owns this collection? And I'm surprised it was warehoused.
I mean, the warehouse, honestly, the photos, it looks pretty fancy. Like it's one of those probably climate-controlled jobs.
Oh, so it's not your local...
This is not like some dusty-ass warehouse, Dylan.
Right, with a gravel parking lot, no
where
fence.
you might attend a questionable rave in the wrong part of town.
Where you store your Goodwill stuff before you take it to Goodwill?
Yes, it's not like that.
So, obviously, someone with money owns these animals, right?
Well, yeah, it's worth $31 million, Dylan.
So,
I'm going to say somebody who's got some money owns this.
Well, I mean, your powers of deduction are incredible.
I
And
know.
they're amazing me right now.
I went to public school.
Somebody's going to answer for this. And I think they should. Because the fact that they will pay these large sums of money for these specimens, it is driving poachers to continue to poach these animals, especially the endangered breeds and species. And it's just it's adding to a problem.
Are you ready for a brand new true crime show or a true crime themed show?
I don't know. Describe the show.
Well, I'm going to say Jason Bateman. Does that draw your attention?
Sign me up.
Okay. So, America's obsession with true crime meets the bathroom invention of the slow close toilet on a new Peacock acquisition that's going to be coming soon based on a true story. So the streaming service announced Monday that it's placed a straight to series order for this dark comedic thriller. It's written by Craig Rosenberg, an award-winning writer responsible for The Boys and Preacher.
Oh, wow. Wow, those are 2 graphic novels that were adaptations. Nice.
So he's going to serve as writer, showrunner, and executive producer. It's based on a true story. So it's actually based on a true story, but it's also called that. Follows a realtor, a plumber, and a former tennis star whose lives suddenly collide and expose America's fascination with real-life murders and apparently this toilet seat.
Do I need is it self-closing or slow closing?
Slow closing.
Okay.
We're just going to have to watch the show because I don't know what that means, but I'm excited.
We have a slow closing toilet seat, and that's just because it's a cheap toilet seat that I replaced, and it's really sticky. So once you get it over the apex and get it leaning to the front, it slowly
When you
closes.
say it's sticky, that sounds like someone's gone in there and poured like maple syrup or molasses all over the toilet seat.
No, to clarify,
Every time I sit down, it's just sticky. My ass sticks right to it.
no, I mean it's hard to open and it's hard to close.
Okay.
But in reality, we ended up with a slow closing toilet lid, and we didn't know how lucky we were.
So Jason Bateman is also attached as an executive producer. We love Jason Bateman, of course. Ozark, we're big fans of that show. And The Outsider, which
Yup.
was an HBO series I finished recently.
Well, most things, especially in the last 4, 5, 6 years that Bateman's done, I've really liked. So I think he's very talented, and I think he's really funny.
It's going to combine true stories that are stranger than fiction. Those are like the events that the show's going to be based on. So it's supposed to be kind of twisted, thrilling, and very funny. It's got a good comic element, but also the suspense.
Okay.
So it should be pretty funny. I kind of can't wait to see it.
We don't have Peacock, bro.
Yeah, we do.
Do we?
Yeah.
Okay.
I just don't pay for it. It's like the free ones. You have to watch commercials.
Oh, gosh. Commercials suck.
Commercials do suck.
Okay, so I got to talk about some breaking news that happened today.
Okay.
Okay. And this is pretty disturbing, and I can only imagine having been a part of it. This is a breaking news article on people.com, and it is titled, "This Person is Dangerous, What We Know About the Brooklyn Subway Shooter Who Remains at Large." And that's the scariest part of the story, in my opinion. Because most of the time when mass shootings, the shooter is caught on sight, right?
We've just been joined by Rufus.
Stop crackling, Rufus.
He's like chewing on a cord or something.
Yeah, we could lose power at any moment because he is not a good producer on the podcast as much as we've tried to work with him. So most of the time the active shooters are killed, caught right there on site. Very seldom do you hear about them having to chase them even. I think they chased Dylan Roof for a minute and then he gave up. It's amazing how they always make it into custody alive.
It does seem as though they typically are arrested pretty quickly or they
Kill themselves.
turn the gun on themselves, yes.
Right. So they're basically prepared to get captured or die on the spot. Right? Isn't that typical of most shooting events? So this is in Brooklyn, New York. I'm sure many have heard. Hours after a shooting on a New York City subway train Tuesday morning left 16 people injured, the suspect remains on the loose. According to New York Police Commissioner Keechant Sewell, at 8:24 a.m., the suspect put on a gas mask before pulling out a smoke canister from his backpack and throwing it on the ground, causing the car of the Manhattan-bound North train to fill with smoke. Then he opened fire. Now just imagine you're riding the train.
That's very scary.
Your morning ritual, just trying to go to work or
Like a
whatever.
damn nightmare.
And this fucking weirdo pulls out a gas mask and puts it on. Now, I got to imagine that wouldn't necessarily set people off in New York. It's New York. You see weird shit, right? All the time.
Yeah.
Right. If you're local, you've seen a lot. And then he pulls out a freaking smoke grenade and sets it off. And then starts shooting as soon as the car is full of smoke. 10 people were shot, while 6 others suffered injuries due to other factors like smoke inhalation and panic, officials said. Authorities have said none of the injuries are life-threatening. Thank God for that. The suspect is described as a black man, which I find very interesting because it's typically a young white male, standing about 5 feet 5 inches tall. So he's a little bit taller than you, babe, with a heavy-set build. He was wearing a green construction top vest and a gray hooded sweatshirt at the time of the shooting, said Sewell, Sewell. How would you pronounce that last name?
You said S-E.
Well.
Sewell? Yeah.
At a Tuesday press conference, which is the police commissioner of New York. New York City Mayor Eric Adams told CNN at about 1 p.m. that police had not yet identified the suspect. adding that there was a malfunction with the camera system at that particular station that prevented the scene from being captured on video. New York Police Department sources tell People that police are searching the tunnels of the system for the suspect right now as we speak.
Well, according to statistics, I wanted to actually clarify what you said, Dylan. I was interested in learning more. In the last 40 years, of the 126 mass shootings that have been carried out in the United States, 66 of those have been by white folks, and 21 have been by black individuals.
Okay.
So it is significantly less.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is.
The only, what comes to mind is the DC sniper.
Right.
This is just a very scary, just the thought of a mass shooting is very frightening to me. But being on a damn train where you're stuck in this confined space,
in a subway
nowhere
tunnel
to go,
yeah.
in a fucking tunnel. Jeez, I can't imagine. This is like horror movie.
No, I can't imagine either. In other breaking news, the lieutenant governor of New York was actually convicted on robbery charges today. So there's that. I'm sure that'll get lost in the sauce because of this story.
Probably.
Oh my God. You know what's wrong with people? We talk about this all the time. How do we do this? Well, I find mass shootings, just randomly shooting strangers, rather disturbing. I think, even if you have this perceived wrongdoing by someone, even if you're incorrect, I can kind of understand why you did what you did more. But this just random violence on the public is very strange to me, and I just don't understand it.
It's a bitch move.
It is cowardly.
It's a little bitch move, in my opinion.
Right. So you're basically in an area where you're the only person with a weapon, typically, and you're going to just randomly shoot people. And thank God, only by luck, all these injuries seem to be non-life threatening, which I just can't imagine how. That's just pure luck, I would think. Or who knows. But yeah, it is cowardly, and it certainly is a bitch move.
Yeah.
So whoever this suspect is, he's a piece of shit.
He is a piece. I hope they find him.
And I hope they find him, and I hope they fucking put him under the jail.
I was talking to my daughter earlier today when we were hanging out, just about mass shootings in general, and telling her that, Columbine, I was a freshman in college when Columbine happened. I had just graduated from high school, a year before, essentially. And that was the first, I guess, real mass shooting that impacted my life.
Oh, no.
Or, my generation.
Columbine changed things.
I remember things before that here and there, but that was just such a big story. It was so shocking, and I feel like it rattled us Americans just to our core. That high school kids would be capable of carrying out this horrific, sinister plot and murdering innocent, kids, peers, students, teachers. It was just so fucking horrible. But then I was thinking about her generation, and she's never known a world where that wasn't a thing.
Where
in her life, there have been so many mass shootings, school shootings, Pulse nightclub. You name it. The big shootout in Las Vegas at that concert. She's never known a life where that didn't exist.
And that's sad.
That's so sad to me.
I agree completely. And we talk about this privately all the time. We've come to the conclusions, knowing these stories, true crime fans as we are, humans are just smart animals. And we're not sophisticated. We're not that special, right? And we're just sentient animals who, kind of think for ourselves, if you will. But that's about as far as it goes.
Because when people want to act like humans are inherently good, I don't believe that's so. I think we're inherently bad, and we have to really work hard to be good people.
No, I think we are. We're not that far removed from the wild, and I think the rules of nature still apply in humankind, and we just don't want to admit it. The strong survive, and they prey on the weak, and I think we see it time and again in various stories across the board. And I think we have to. I think if you removed societal norms and laws and what was expected of being civilized from the equation, I think many of us would do fucked up things, right? I don't think just because there's only so many monsters or stuff like that, I think that's the people who just can't control themselves, have no impulse controls. But I think many of your regular day neighbors and friends would do some deviant, messed up thing if they could get away with it.
If there were no consequences.
If there were no consequences and they didn't have this kind of imposed conscience of those types of things. That's really only been about 150 years, 200 years, right? Of civilized society, if you will. But even in the medieval times and stuff, we were still rather brutal to each other.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think over the last 1,000 years, we've
been trying to be civilized.
Been trying to,
yeah,
have a society where we weren't just like chopping each other's heads and hands off. I don't know.
That's like if the shit went down tomorrow and the whole system broke and was not coming back, we would quickly devolve. I have no doubt about that.
All of the post-apocalyptic types of films depict this very image. I mean, think of the Mad Max films, the Walking Dead.
Yeah.
All of the incredibly fucked up groups that, the Walking Dead folks, Rick and Carl, what's her name? Carol. They encounter some really sick individuals in this apocalyptic universe.
Well, it quickly...
And I think there's a reason for that, because that's absolutely what would happen. You would have cannibals. You would have predators. I mean, it would be dangerous. You would have people shooting each other over gas or whatever.
There's no doubt in my mind that would be the case. And it quickly became, in The Walking Dead especially, the biggest threat was not the zombies.
It was the people.
You knew how
humans are the monsters. Exactly.
Oh, my God.
Just like Scooby-Doo's always taught us, the real monsters are human, Dylan.
Damn, did Scooby say that?
I think so.
Oh, my God. It was always some old man, He was always the one doing the damn bad stuff.
The amusement park.
Yeah. All right, so you got anything else?
No, that's it. Speaking of Scooby-Doo, we watched a Scooby-Doo Kiss movie on, I believe it was HBO Max. My daughter's obsessed with Kiss. She has a lady boner for Paul Stanley.
Well, she likes Scooby-Doo, too. So.
She does, but I find her obsession with Paul Stanley to be a bit disturbing.
Okay.
Like, she has his photo as her, screen, her home screen on her phone. And she said someone asked her the other day, is that your boyfriend? And she was like, well, he's 70 now, but yes.
Yeah, and he's also in the mega group Kiss, so probably not.
Yeah.
So, but it was, what did you think about this?
Man, it was awesome. So if you're a fan of Scooby-Doo and you like Kiss and you want to see the marriage of rock and roll mysteries, it was awesome. I loved it. They think they did a great job. You had all of the original band members as... they're, playing themselves. They're doing the voiceover, the voice acting, whatever. The colors were great because I felt like they were trying to give it that retro 70s kind of look.
Yeah. And it was a modern, 2013, right?
It was really fun.
Yeah, it was. And I think the best part of it was a ridiculous concept, but they leaned into it and they didn't shy away from it.
It was great.
And, Kiss, they had superpowers and shit.
If you're looking for something lighthearted to take your mind off all the woes in the world, Scooby-Doo Kiss movie.
Oh, so take your mind off the fact that we're all animals and the first chance we'll turn on each other.
God, why do you have to be so negative? Why you got to be bringing up old shit?
Talking
about new shit.
Just watch the Kiss Scooby-Doo.
Yeah, it'll make you feel better.
All right. Thank you, Heather.
Thank you, Dylan. I hope everybody has a great week, and we'll be back on Sunday with a brand new true crime case. Dylan, I am jazzed about this case.
Man, when she acts like this, folks, we got a banger in the making.
I think it's going to be a banger. If anything, it will give you a glimpse into a case you're probably familiar with, but you don't know the ins and outs of it. I've dug deep, Dylan.
Oh, my God.
I'm going to tell you the story like you've never heard it before. I can guarantee that.
I can't wait to be told.
And it's one of those cases that I had a certain opinion when I started my research. Thought I knew the real score. But the more I dig, I am uncertain. I am unsure of myself at present in my original opinion.
Well, I think that will make for a great story because anytime you've described that very feeling to me, it is a great story and we just had to try to figure it out together.
No, it's going to be fun. I can't wait to hear your feedback. I'm excited to tell you the story, and I can't wait for our listeners to experience this case with a potentially different set of eyes.
Oh
that,
my God.
that they haven't heard it like this before. There's probably information they don't know about this particular case. I think they're going to like it.
Well, I'm sure they will. And now the bar's way up here. So you have to deliver.
Oh, I'm gonna.
Okay.
Like it's fucking DoorDash.
Damn.
I expect a big tip.
You got it.
Okay. Well, you guys have a great week.